Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Ace of Cups radio show. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I have to just tell you I am kind of new at this, so please bear with me. Please forgive me for starting late. I had ran into a little problems, but I feel like I'm on it now. So welcome everybody, and I'm so happy to be part of the Cosmic Council Radio Network. And just hang in there with us because there's going to be so much great information that's going to be given out. There's going to be so many opportunities to get questions answered because we're going to be providing live readings, and it's just going to be a crazy, wild, but wonderful ride that we're going to take you guys on. So just buckle up because we're at the beginning of this special time. Actually, we're going to be making history because there's really not a platform out there where a group of astrologers and other metaphysicians can get together and share their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to the masses. So I'm very grateful to be a part of the Cosmic Council Radio Network. So as I said before, this is the Ace of Cups radio show. Now, my Ace of Cups radio show is not new. I actually belong to another network on Blog Talk Radio, but now I've transitioned into the Cosmic Council Radio Network, so I'm really happy about that. And on the other network, I got to episode 6. So some of my listeners may be familiar with the Ace of Cups radio show. I also have a YouTube channel, and I upload my Ace of Cups radio show episodes on there as well. So if you would like to check out some of my YouTube videos, I have over 100 on there, I believe, and a lot of them deal with astrology, numerology, tarot. Just look up my name, Rahbinah Rastaban, on YouTube, and you should be able to find my YouTube channel. So I'm your host. My name is Rahbinah Rastaban, a.k.a. the Realist Astrologer. I'm an astrologer, tarot reader, numerologist, and it all falls under the category of spiritual advisor. That's basically what I call myself. Now, so this is the very first episode as part of the Cosmic Council Radio Network, and I'm very excited. So, and I'm also a little nervous, so please excuse me if I trip over some words or, if I stutter or whatever. But I just wanted to get into a little bit about myself before I get into the topic of the show tonight. So before I do that, I want to give a shout-out to all of my friends, family, followers, and my peeps in the metaphysical community. And I want to give a special shout-out to Apollonia, the astrology lady, who made all of this possible. Also, I want to give a shout-out to Reese, the astroconceptualist. He's also on the Cosmic Council Radio staff as well. And also I want to give a shout-out to April, a.k.a. the Pisces Moon Goddess. She's part of the Cosmic Council, as well as Mr. Gemini Brown, master of the 12th house. He's part of the council as well. Tony Barber, a.k.a. the Sea and Piscean. She's part of the Cosmic Council. And also a special shout-out to Mr. Sagittarius Brown, who I like to call the Skeptical Astrologer. So one thing I wanted to discuss right now, as the Realist Astrologer, I tend to give some examples of my own life and how astrology affects my own life. So right now I'm experiencing a transit of Jupiter, and it's opposing my Chiron. Now, Jupiter is transiting my 9th house, and it's opposing my Chiron in Aries in the 3rd house. So right now I'm just kind of like really keyed up in terms of my nerves. I'm kind of overwhelmed in terms of my workload, but that's a good thing because I've never had so much work for my business at one point in time. And I'm working on very little sleep. So this is like a crazy time for me, but it's a crazy time in a good way. So that Jupiter opposing my Chiron right now is really pushing me to go further than I ever have gone before. And this Cosmic Council Radio Network being launched during this time is right aligned with this transit that I'm experiencing. So while it's a challenge, I like a challenge, being as though my sun is in Sagittarius and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. This is right up my alley. The fact that I'm challenged, the fact that I'm just wired, I have so many things on my plate, but I work best when I'm under pressure. Now, I just wanted to go into a little bit of who I am and what I do. As I stated before, I'm an astrologer, tarot reader, numerologist, and I also provide readings using the runes and the I Ching. And I'm also a hoodoo practitioner. Now, I'm still a novice in this area, but so far my magic has produced some stellar results. But I'm still a work in progress, so that's one of my goals for 2017 and beyond, to become even more effective with respect to hoodoo and my magical work. Now, I've been providing spiritual advising services since 2009, and I've done readings for people all over the world. So that fits my Sagittarian energy, because Sagittarius deals with international things, or, things that are worldwide. It deals with different countries, foreign nations. Also, just a little bit about my background. I grew up in a Christian religion, Christian denomination church, Seventh-day Adventist. So I've always been very spiritual. I started off with a strong religious background. However, I broke away from that as a teen, and I started to get into different types of religion because I always was searching for the meaning of life, and that's very Sagittarian as well. We're always searching for the meaning of life. And we're always searching for the answers to life's mysteries. So I've always been on a quest for higher knowledge. So I've always been into astrology from an early age. Once I, learned about, your zodiac sign and all that, that's always intrigued me. But it wasn't until I encountered some serious life challenges that I started to really look at astrology as it being a tool that could actually help to improve my life. So once I actually saw my natal chart for the first time. I think I was around 19. And that's when I learned about, it's not just about your sun sign. It's about, you got all these other planets and stuff. And I pulled my natal chart from Astrology. Some of you guys might be familiar with that, astro.com. That website has a wealth of information about astrology. So if you're just starting out, that's one of the better resources online where you could get a ton of information on all branches of astrology. So Astrodience is the website I went to get my first natal chart reading, and it was very accurate. So that really woke me up to, like, oh, the potential of astrology. And I remember pulling my mother's chart as well and showing her, like, look, it says you got issues with your father, which was true, and everything like that. So that, like, really woke me up to the efficacy of astrology. So even back then, I didn't really delve deep into it until I went through some serious life challenges. And that's when I started to really look at my chart and say, okay, what is it with me where I'm choosing these types of men and I'm, like, shooting myself in the foot and, you know, I'm, like, missing out on good opportunities, and why am I so antisocial, and why can't I just, you know, just be? Why am I so uptight about certain things? So I started to really learn about, you know, the different planets and the houses and the aspects and all that stuff. So I started to I started with myself, and Apollonia, the astrology lady, she spoke about this last night about starting with yourself, or she wrote about this, and I saw where she wrote about this or something. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm kind of loopy right now. But anyway, as astrologers, we often start with ourselves, and that's exactly what I did. I started by examining and delineating my own natal chart. And once I saw that I could gain a great deal of understanding of my own life, I was like, hey, I could use this to help others. So I went on this long quest to just learn everything I could possibly learn about natal chart delineation and the different branches of astrology. And I started to gravitate towards certain branches like synastry, which is basically relationship compatibility. I also love predictive astrology, where you're doing forecasts and you're looking to see what's ahead for people. One of the other branches that I really love is horary astrology. Horary astrology is one of the most fascinating branches of astrology. Basically, it's where you cast a chart that deals with a question that you ask, and per the elements of that chart, you can answer that person's question. Now, horary is one of the more challenging branches of astrology, but like I said, as a Sagittarius, I love a challenge. So that's why I gravitated towards astrology. And also it has that predictive component, which I love. And Sagittarius is good with predictions in general. They're a natural prognosticator. They're a natural prophet. So like I said, my specialties are predictive work, relationship compatibility, a.k.a. synastry, counseling regarding one's life purpose, career guidance, as well as karmic debt and karmic tendencies that you need to try to try to overcome in this lifetime. So I deal with a lot of past life profiles as well, which I strongly believe in past lives and reincarnation. And astrology basically underscores the theme of reincarnation. Now, I tend to focus on the dark side of the zodiac. And that's because, well, you can basically chalk it up to my moon in Capricorn, and I'm a Capricorn rising. So I can be a little pessimistic at times, and I can be, what's the word? Oh, God, I forget the word. But I can really sometimes just focus on, cynical, that's the word. I can be cynical sometimes. But at the same time, that Capricorn energy gives me a nice dose of realism. So my thing is, I feel like a lot of people do not do the dark-sided aspects of the zodiac signs enough justice. I feel like it's not discussed enough. And that's part of the topic of our discussion tonight. I'm going to basically get into the dark-sided manifestations of each zodiac sign and how in this day and age you need to adjust for inflation. That's what I like to call it, because nowadays, since people are able to exercise more of their free will, you're going to see more of those dark-sided aspects of the sign being more pronounced in people. So we're going to delve into that a little more deeper as the show goes on. Let me just see where I'm at in terms of the time, because this is only a 90-minute show tonight, so I want to make sure I get everything in. So I started 10 minutes in, and I think I still am held to the time limit. So we're working at a 10-minute deficit, but that's all fine and dandy. But let me see. I think when we get probably about 20 minutes later, I'll probably open the phone line. Hopefully, I'll get some callers to see if anybody would like to join in on the discussion, to see if anybody has any questions, and also I'll be providing mini readings as well. So let me see. So, like, back to the dark side of the zodiac. So I have a dark side of zodiac series on my YouTube channel, and it's gotten a lot of positive feedback, and it's really helped me to see that a lot of people are really in need of more knowledge of the darker manifestations of each of the zodiac signs. And I was really grateful that a lot of people could relate to what I was saying because, as I said, I'm the realist astrologer. So I don't just provide theoretical information. I will give you real-world examples of how a certain sign operates. Like, for instance, for the dark side of Aries female, I mentioned that a lot of them like to own guns. A lot of them like firearms, or they might like knives and stuff. And, some of my viewers were confirming that. Like, one Aries female said, oh, hell yeah. She was like, I got a collection of guns. So that's basically what I'm talking about. Like, so in those videos, I will give you real-world examples of how the signs manifest in the dark side of things. So moving along. So I just wanted to give you a little explanation of why my show is called the Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups is one of the cards of the tarot deck, and it's a card that deals with things that are coming into fruition but that have not exactly come into fruition yet. So it's about possibilities. It can also, the Ace of Cups can deal with being a visionary. It can deal with using your creative imagination. And Cups is a suit of the tarot deck, and it represents water. So it represents the 3 water signs of astrology. So it represents Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And those are all feminine signs. So the Ace of Cups radio show is providing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a female perspective. However, we also welcome the perspective of males, but since I'm a female, I decided to go with the Ace of Cups because I'm giving you that female perspective. Now, the Cup suit, or the Ace of Cups in general card for tarot, also deals with psychic ability. It also deals with the astral realm. It also deals with mysticism. And it also deals with receptivity, which all water signs are known to have that trait within them. So with the Ace of Cups radio show, I'm hoping that my audience is receptive to the knowledge and wisdom that I'm dispensing so that they can gain a higher understanding of these metaphysical concepts, which can be applied to your everyday life. So that's part of my purpose. I want to bring down the cosmic, the mystical, the supernatural, or, the metaphysical, and bring it down to a level where the average layperson can understand and apply it to their everyday life. Now, water, like I said, the Ace of Cups deals with, cups in tarot deals with water, and water is akin to wisdom. So there you have it right there. And with the Ace of Cups radio show, I want to provide a warm and inviting and free-flowing atmosphere where we can chop it up on various spiritual and metaphysical topics. I also want to get into some current events. Like tonight I'm going to discuss Donald Trump, since he's a hot item right now. And I wanted to just get into his chart just very briefly. And I also wanted to get into his synastry or his relationship with Melania Trump. There's this video that's been circulating of him looking at her. And then, they're in public. I think this was at the inauguration. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he turns around and he says something to her. And her expression, when he turns back around, her expression goes from happy or cheerful to total disgust, loathing, and also I was picking up on elements of fear and also a feeling of powerlessness. So I was going to get into the reason why, she's in that state right now with him. Okay. Now, before we get into some of the current events, I just want to talk about Aquarius, since we are in Aquarius season. And actually, this was the perfect season to launch the Cosmic Council Radio Network, since Aquarius deals with occult topics, including astrology. So this couldn't have happened at a better time for us. So let's just chop it up on Aquarius for a minute. And when I open up the phone lines, if anybody wants to contribute to the discussion on Aquarius, please feel free to do so. Aquarius, to me, is one of the more enigmatic signs. I'll say that, enigmatic. That's a good term to use for Aquarius. It's one of those signs where I think people tend to forget about, actually, until that season comes around, or unless you know a lot of Aquarian friends, because Aquarian can be very neutral to a certain respect. It is an air sign, and they do tend to be very tolerant. A lot of times they're not very egotistical, although they are very willful. So there's a difference. They're very willful, but a lot of times they're not really outwardly egotistical, and they tend to be very about the collective. So a lot of times, especially when it comes to the dark-sided traits of Aquarius, a lot of times people might skip over that, or it might escape their awareness. But if you ask me, when it comes to the dark-sided manifestations of the zodiac signs, Aquarius is up at the top. And the reason for that is Aquarius is a totally rational, unemotional sign. It's a sign that really is not conducive to love and intimacy and emotional bonding. So it's really easy for Aquarius, when they are embodying the dark-sided nature, to be very cold-hearted, to be almost inhumane, and I'm saying almost, no, like straight up inhumane. The thing about it is Aquarius deals with humanitarianism, but on the dark side, it can make somebody very inhumane, or it can make somebody very totalitarian, where they're not caring about your individual needs or your individual rights. Basically, it's like, this is the law, and this is how it needs to be followed, and I don't care about your individual rights. I don't care about your little concerns. It needs to be this way. So Aquarius really doesn't have time to be worrying about people's feelings. So that's why Aquarius and Cancer, for instance, clash, and they clash harshly. There's a quincunx, which is a challenging aspect between those two signs. So, and it mainly deals with the fact that Cancer is all about that emotional closeness. It's all about nurturing. It's all about that softer side of life. Whereas Aquarius can be very sterile in its approach. It can be very, like, unemotional, aloof, very, just very rigid when it comes to what they want. It's very hard to get an Aquarius to compromise when it comes to something that they really want. And when it comes to something that they really want that they cannot get, that's when the daggers might come out. And usually the daggers come out in terms of what they say to you. So a lot of times when an Aquarius is manifesting their dark-sided nature, they can hit below the belt, and they will do so unapologetically, because they don't have that emotional component that's going to kind of pull them back and say, wait a minute, I might be hurting this person's feelings, or, I might be creating bad blood because this person might never be able to get over what I said. Now, case in point, I have my oldest daughter is an Aquarius, and she has a heart of gold. She's not totally cold-hearted, but when she cannot get her way, she will go into total beast mode, and she doesn't care who she's dealing with. She will tell you where to go, where you need to put it, and she will basically show you no respect whatsoever, and that is very Aquarian. The good thing about astrology is it will help you to understand the dark-sided characteristics of the sign, so that you can get some understanding of why a person behaves in a certain way that they do, so that you don't get all bent out of shape when they do start to act crazy, or they do start to just, be off the chain. So that's how I was able to basically make it through my Aquarius daughter's teenage years, because by then, I was pretty well versed in astrology, especially the older she got, especially when she got about 17, 18, 19. So I could always say, oh, okay, yeah, she has that 12th house stellium in Aquarius, so that's why she's acting this way. Okay, I need to, take this approach with her because I know she's going to respond in this way. So even nowadays, me and my daughter, we might butt heads, but I can always take it back to her chart. She's just doing what she's inclined to do because, she has a lot of that dark side of Aquarian energy in her. Doesn't make her a necessarily bad or evil person, but those are some of the traits that she needs to try to work on, and she needs to try to overcome some of those weaknesses. And the beauty of astrology is, I'm able to educate my children regarding their natal charts. So my daughter, she's very much aware of the energy that she's working with, and she'll even, come to me at times and say, oh, this 12th house energy is really getting to me, why I have to be born with all this energy in the 12th house. So she understands, but the thing about astrology is it's hard for us sometimes to step outside of ourselves, so we're still inclined to fall into the traps that our natal chart dictates. So, for instance, I have moon square Pluto in my own chart. So I have an issue with becoming over emotional, over petty concerns sometimes. Or I'll get easily bent out of shape if I feel like I'm not in control of a situation. So knowing that I have moon square Pluto, you would think, okay, I know this, so I need to, always stay on top of that. But we're talking about the moon and Pluto, and the moon deals with your subconscious reactions. It deals with your instincts. So my natural instinct with moon square Pluto is to flip out when something is amiss, or when, if I can't find my keys, I'm just, acting crazy and all this stuff. So the moon deals with our habits. It deals with it deals with our behaviors that we really don't have much conscious control over. So it really takes an effort to gain control over our moon's energy, especially when it's being afflicted by a major planet such as Pluto or Saturn or Neptune. And I would say, like for instance, somebody with moon square Neptune, number one, they might have addiction issues. They might have a flimsy hold on reality. They might be prone to delusions. And I would tend to think that someone with moon square Neptune would have a harder time just navigating life than someone with moon square Pluto. So I also wanted to get into that as we get into the episodes of the Ace of Cups radio show. I just wanted to talk about how we don't have as much free will as we would like to believe. And the natal chart is a perfect example of that, because things will happen that are outside of your control, number one. But then, like I said, depending on your moon sign and the house that it's in and the aspects that it has to other planets, a large part of your behavior may be not so much within your control. I mean, you might be prone to compulsive behavior, and compulsive means something that you really don't have control over. So that's why I'm not too hard on people who suffer from addiction. Now, it's one thing if, you have an addict and they just are not trying at all and they're just content to be a low-life addict. But I'm talking about those people where they might have struggled with addiction all of their life, and they might have tried to get clean, but they keep falling off the wagon and they keep relapsing. Well, usually those people that are going through constant relapses, they might have moon square Neptune, or their sun might be in square to Neptune, or their Mercury might be in square to Neptune. And Neptune is a powerful planet. It's a planet where we don't have any personal control over. So you have personal planets, and then you have what are the outer planets. So the personal planets, we have more control over. But like I say, even that moon, a lot of times we don't have much direct control over. But someone that has moon square Neptune or moon opposition Neptune, yeah, there's a good chance that they might be a lush. There's a good chance they might be a crackhead. But we have to look at the situation for what it is. A lot of these times, these people are being overpowered by their addiction, and they have a weak will, and it's indicated in the natal chart. So a lot of times we need to be more forgiving and more understanding of people who are battling addiction and people who are battling other challenges in life as well. And also, this goes out to all those high acidity people. Of course, I got to interject some humor into it, but this goes out to all those high-city, self-righteous people who have great jobs and, you know, they have a great source of income, or, you know, they might have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or they might have been given a lot of lucky breaks in life, or, you know, they might have had a smooth path to success, and they look at other people like, oh, well, why can't you get it together? Or, you know, what's wrong with you? And I worked hard and, you know, I managed to be successful. Well, what they don't understand is they might have the type of chart that makes it super easy for them to be successful. Like, all they had to do was show up and the money was there, basically. Like, you know, somebody like that could have Venus trine Jupiter in their chart. They could have Venus conjoined to Jupiter. Jupiter could be in their second house in Taurus. Somebody like that is going to be able to get money really easily. So a lot of people that are on their high horse because they're living that good life and, you know, they might have that nice pension at the end of their years, you know, they need to understand that a lot of the blessings that they receive in life is really not due to their own merit. It's due to the cosmic lineup that was present at their time of birth. And it can deal with their past life profile. I mean, maybe they were really great in a past life and now they're being rewarded in this life. But basically, I say all this to mean that a lot of times, or most times in life, we have less free will than what we like to believe, even those people that are hugely successful. Like a lot of people that are very successful, they really didn't have any choice but to be successful because of the factors in their chart were pushing them in that direction. So let's get into the current events, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines. Let me check the dashboard, see if we got any callers at this time. Oh, looks like we got 3 callers. Yes, okay. And I see some of you have been holding for a minute, so I'm going to open up the phone lines very soon. But before I do that, I just wanted to get into Trump a little bit because we were talking about Trump on the radio show launch last night. So that got me that got my creative juices, or I'll say astrological juices, flowing. So I was like, let me look at his chart a little bit. Let me see if I could contribute a little bit more about this new commander-in-chief. And to tell you the truth, I'm still in disbelief that this man is in office. Every time I see him on TV, I'm thinking that I'm in a crazy dream that I can't wake up from. I mean, we were really thrown a curveball with this recent election. I think most people did not see this coming. But on the bright side, I do see this as kind of refreshing, and I'll tell you why. It's because we've had the same kind of paradigm for so long now with the powers that be. So now that they've thrown us a curveball, I'm really, interested in what's to come. Like, what do they have up their sleeve next? Because, number one, you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I tend to, I like to call myself being a member of the truth movement. So I tend to read a lot of material that deals with the unseen hand. There's actually a book that I have called The Unseen Hand, where it deals with the powers that operate behind the scenes that are really in control of this world. So I'm of the notion, as quite a few other people in this day and time, that our president is selected, not elected. So I believe that Trump was selected to be president, and it's for a special purpose. And I believe it's to dismantle this country even further than it has been so far. I believe that the people who are really in charge are bent upon creating civil unrest in this country. They want a race war. They just want division because they know that's how they can conquer. So it's all about that divide and conquer. They are fomenting the racial tensions. Now, this country has always been, it's been founded on racism, so I'm not going to discount that. However, it's like they are adding fuel to the fire with every report that you see about racial incidents. And some of these, I believe, are fabricated. Some of these, I believe, are orchestrated by the powers that be just to create a response and an uproar. But that's for another topic. But, so let's get into Trump a little bit. So we all know that Trump is a racist, and he's an unapologetic racist. So I was just going to give you the astrological explanation on why he is the way he is in terms of his views on race. He has Saturn in Cancer. Now, that alone can make somebody xenophobic. or they could have a case of myopia where they only see their own, or they only want to deal with their own kind, or they might be afraid of outsiders, because Cancer is a sign of culture, nationality, race, clan, family ties. So Cancer likes to keep things close. They don't really like outsiders, or they're distrusting of outsiders. So when you have Saturn in Cancer, it exacerbates that Cancer energy. And Saturn deals with fear. So a lot of times with Cancer, Cancer has this strong need for self-preservation, and that on the extreme end, self-preservation can lead to racism. So when you think of those racial groups, like the neo-Nazis, the KKK, even black nationalist groups, Mexican groups like La Raza, that's all, to me, it all falls under Cancer. Also, you want to talk about gangs. I believe gangs fall under Cancer too. Now, some people might say, oh, that's Scorpio. But Scorpio, to me, is gangsterism, or it's the whole gangster concept. But when you want to talk about gangs, that's Cancer to me, because gangs are basically a family. And a lot of youths gravitate towards gangs because they lack that family structure in their early life. So, yes, I believe Cancer represents gangs as well. Now, as I said before, Cancer deals with one's country or nation. So Cancer is a natural nationalist. Now, Trump's Saturn in Cancer is making a quincunx to his moon in Sagittarius. The moon can deal with the populace, also nations. The moon rules Cancer. Now, the moon is his moon is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius deals with foreign nations or different ethnicities. It deals with diversity. It deals with that which is exotic. So that quincunx is showing that, yeah, at the end of the day, Trump might have some, he might be racist against certain races or ethnicities or cultures. He might be very xenophobic. Now, what's also interesting with that moon in Sagittarius, the moon in a man's chart can represent his wife. So with the moon being in Sagittarius, that means that Trump is prone to marry a woman from a different ethnicity or culture or country or what have you, and both of his wives are from foreign nations. So there you go right there. So while he is racist, he's not against dating a woman from a different nationality, but it's more about color with him. Now, with his Gemini energy, he has his sun in Gemini, and it's conjoined to his North Node in Gemini. Now, the North Node in astrology is very important, and it should never be taken lightly. That North Node will tell you so much about the chart, and I call it, when you look at the North and the South nodes, I call it taking the backdoor approach, because if you're trying to delineate a natal chart and you're stumped and you can't figure it out, just look to the nodes, and then everything will start to become clear. Now, Trump's North Node is in Gemini at the 20th degree, and his sun is at the 22nd degree in Gemini. So that gives him, that like reinforces that Gemini energy like very, very strongly. This means that in this lifetime, he's supposed to be as Gemini as possible. So we're talking about both the light side of Gemini, but also the dark side of Gemini. So he has a tendency to lack a filter, which he does. It's very evident with the words that he has come out of his mouth. But at the same time, you gotta watch him, because he's two-faced. Everybody knows about Gemini being two-faced. So him being that strong Gemini, he also has Uranus in Gemini as well. So he has a stellium in Gemini, Sun, North Node, Uranus. That Uranus can make him a dictator or a tyrant. So, and especially in Gemini, it's an air sign, so there's no emotional component. He doesn't have really feelings for, the downtrodden or those who are in a position of need. But, yeah, he could be hella shifty. You don't know what he's going to do next. So all of the people that voted for him, obviously they weren't too up on astrology, because they should know that they really shouldn't trust the words coming out his mouth. He talks on both sides of his mouth. So expect him to go back on a lot of what he promised his voters. So, yeah, with that Gemini energy combined with the Cancer energy, and then with his sun opposes his moon, which is a person that first of all, someone with sun opposition moon, I don't think should be in a position to be president, number one, because that's somebody who could be severely unstable, and that, they might even be a little mentally unstable as well, because we're talking about that Gemini energy as well. And Sagittarius can deal with the higher mind, or it can deal with having delusions of grandeur. Now, let me get into his relationship profile. Now, it already appears that Trump and Melania's marriage is basically, it was a match made in hell. There's really no chemistry between the two of them. And from when I look at Trump's chart, it looks like he just does not do well with women. He doesn't respect women. And some of the aspects that are indicators of this is that Sun conjoined to his North Node. It's opposing his moon in Sagittarius. Now, while he does like women from foreign nations with that moon in Sagittarius, he has ulterior motives with that, and it's usually because he probably feels like he can will more control over them. He also has his Venus conjoined to Saturn in Cancer. Venus conjoined to Saturn in a man's chart can basically mean that he wants a woman that's like a trophy piece, or he wants a woman that's going to help him to upgrade his status. Like, it's all about status to him. So his woman is basically his status symbol. Also, he has his moon conjoined to the South Node in Sagittarius, so that shows that he has karmic debt with respect to women. So what that tells me is that the women that he gets with, number one, they have a lot of information on him that if he was to ever really do them dirty, like, he better watch out with this Melania, because she could turn around and release some information on him that he doesn't want to get out, because Sagittarius deals with the truth. So that moon conjoined to his South Node in Sagittarius, he can really trip himself up by getting with the wrong woman, and he could end up having to pay out a lot of money as well. He also has his moon in quincunx to Saturn. I spoke about that with the racism component, but also that deals with him just having no respect for women, him wanting to wield total control over women, and him saying stuff like, grab them by the pussy and all that stuff. Now, Melania Trump was born on April 26, 1970. Now, in terms of numerology, 26 is a hard number for relationships in particular. It's a karmic number because it breaks down to 8. It's a number of Saturn. So often it can make one opportunistic in terms of love and marriage. 26 people may often marry for money, status, or financial security, but there's always some bad trade-offs. So you might marry for money, but your husband might be a total sadistic asshole, or he might be very cruel and controlling, or you might be a very lonely wife and you might be miserable. So you might have this mansion, you might have all this wealth, but you might live a life of fear, or you might be very lonely, or you might feel this great sense of inadequacy. Now, her life path number is a 29, which is the most difficult number in numerology. 29 is a number of being under tremendous pressure. It's a number where you are caught up in a conflict. There's always some conflict going on. Often the conflict is internal. And with her, it is an internal conflict because, like I said, she married for money, but there's a negative trade-off as a result, and that was evidenced in that little video clip we seen where she reacted in that way where she looked like she was totally disgusted and she just seemed like she was powerless. So that 29 life path means that her life path is going to be kind of hard, even though, she has gotten some acclaim and she's had some time in the limelight, and she's really in the limelight now being the president's wife. But, yeah, that 29 right there is very hard, and it can make her have issues it can make her very insecure. Now, she has Sun conjunct Saturn in Taurus, and that can denote her marrying a very controlling husband because the Sun in a woman's chart represents her husband. It's also a perfect representation of a woman marrying a president or a major businessman. Trump is both, or some other government official. And her Sun is opposing Jupiter in Scorpio. So like I said, the Sun in a woman's chart represents her husband. So that could deal with a husband who wields tremendous power and influence over her because Jupiter is in Scorpio. It also deals with the difference in nationalities and how she may have gotten more than she bargained for. Also, with the Sun opposition Jupiter, her freedom is largely curtailed. And it also denotes a husband who wants to be worshipped or revered. Also, and that goes along with him wanting to deal with foreign women, because foreign women have a tendency to revere men more so than American women. And also, that Sun opposition Jupiter makes her attract a husband who wants to do as he pleases, and while he may be married, he may have a lack of commitment. So he may be a big-time philanderer. So I'm going to open up the phone lines now because we are getting close to the top of the hour. And I'm going to take the first caller, but with this first caller, I'm going to get into why I say that when it comes to astrology in this day and age, you got to adjust for inflation. So I'm hoping that this first caller can join me in on this discussion. So let's see. And if anybody is listening and you would like to call up to join in on the discussion or to get a free mini reading, the number is 424-243-9659. So let's see who has been waiting the longest. Looks like somebody in Philly. I used to live in Philly. So let me see. Let me open up the phone line. Okay, so 267-294-1927. You are live.
Hi, Rahbinah. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm fine. This is my
and who do I have the pleasure?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is Kim.
Hi, Kim.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
All right, so I really enjoyed a lot of what you were talking about tonight, especially, as you might imagine, the Donald Trump. But I wanted to know a little bit about signs of couples that are incompatible and whether it's possible to work through that incompatibility that might be natural between two people of different signs.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned this because this is going to tie into my discussion for tonight about why I say in this day and age you have to adjust for inflation. So this is a great segue. So let's take the two signs that I mentioned previously. Let's say you have Aquarius man and a Cancer woman. Now, those two signs, they clash naturally because, like I said, Aquarius is more about being very intellectual, being very rational. They're not really emotional creatures, where Cancer is purely emotional. They're purely subjective. They need that nurturing. They need that closeness. They need that consistency, where Aquarius likes to be out. They're very social. They like a lot of friends. And Cancer is prone to become very insecure because Aquarius likes to be very social and they might have a lot of friends, both males and females. So let's say that the Cancer woman and the Aquarius man, they already know that, let's say they're a little bit versed in astrology, just a general aspect of astrology. So they already know, okay, well, getting together is going to be kind of challenging because I'm an Aquarius and you're a Cancer. So some of the ways that they could try to mitigate the challenges is to say, okay, there's always, when you're in a relationship, there's always going to be one party that's doing more of the bending, correct? Or that has to do more of the compromising.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely.
Yes. So in this case, you have to determine, okay, who's the more dominant of the sign in their expression, especially when it comes to those dark-sided traits. And if you ask me, I would say Aquarius. So naturally, Cancer is going to have to do more of the bending than Aquarius will. And Cancer is more inclined to do more of the bending than Aquarius actually can. So in that case, I would be more in the Cancer's ear and say, look, okay, you know this guy is going to want some space. He's very independent. He's not that affectionate and all lovey-dovey, so sometimes you might be getting on his nerves if you want to cuddle too much. So you need to give it to him in doses. And so that's where I come in as a spiritual advisor. So I do, counsel people who are with signs that just naturally clash, and I tell them how to be more flexible. It's all about flexibility when you're dealing with incompatible signs. You've got to be flexible because if you're rigid, in terms of your standards and expectations, it will never work. Never. And that's why it's so easy for us to say, oh, Capricorn and Aries, they're not going to work out because of human nature. Human nature, in terms of human nature, is we do tend to be more focused on ourselves and what we want, and then our partners come secondary. Whereas with astrology, go ahead.
Would you say then that if you're trying to deal with someone with a pretty much incompatible sign, to study that sign as much as possible so that you can understand when this person responds in a certain way that it's coming more from how their astrological sign?
Correct. And it helps to alleviate a lot of the pain, confusion, and the, disappointment, because you're realizing that it's not really the person, and I shouldn't take it personal because this is part of their nature. Because they are this sign, they are inclined to approach relationships in this way. So instead of going against their grain, I'm going to try to meet them halfway or meet them where they're at and work with it. So instead of going against the flow, you're going with the flow, and that way both of you can be more happy and harmonious. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying, oh, give Aquarius whatever he wants, and you are negating all of your needs and you're just living for that person. I'm not saying that at all. But as a realist astrologer, I have to be real and say there's going to be one sign out of the relationship that's going to will more influence, or that's going to be more dominant than the other sign. So that other sign is going to have to do more of the bending. So it does really help to know as much as you can about that person's sun sign. But in a relationship, it's not just about their sun sign. You got to look and see where their moon is at, what sign, what aspects, and also their Venus. The Venus is very important in relationships. So, for instance, let's say you have a guy with a Leo sun and he gets with a woman that is a Sagittarius. So naturally, they're compatible, right? But let's say this guy with the Leo sun, his Venus is in Virgo. Well, that's right there is going to be hard because Virgo and Sagittarius, they clash. So let's say that her sun is in Sagittarius, her Venus is in Sagittarius, his sun is in Leo, his Venus is in Virgo. Well, their two Venuses are going to be clashing each other because Virgo and Sagittarius, they naturally clash. So that's why it's important to take the whole chart into account and not just stop at the sun sign and say, oh, you're a Leo, I'm a Sag, we're compatible, it's going to work out. Case in point, I was dating this Leo man, right? And, all the books say, oh, that's some of the best matches. I'm a Sagittarius. They were like, oh, that's one of the greatest matches. Well, me and this man, we were so incompatible, it was ridiculous. And one of the reasons why was, hey, his Venus was in Virgo. So that right there, you got to take the whole chart into account. He also had other factors as well. But just because your two sun signs are compatible does not mean that it's going to work out. So are you currently with somebody that has a sign that's incompatible with yours?
Yes, I'm a Capricorn and he's a Cancer.
Now, I'm glad you said that because...
No, he's not a Cancer. He's actually a Leo.
Oh, a Leo. Oh, that's okay. Because I was about to say Cancer and Capricorn, they don't make that bad of a match. They are actually the two signs that can stay together for many years. But Capricorn and Leo, ooh, that's hard. That is hard. And one of the main reasons is both of you guys like to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of you guys want to relinquish control. But with Leo, it's that ego component too, where Capricorn don't really have that strong ego component. And the ego thing can really turn a Capricorn off.
And he has,
because Capricorn, we're not
sensitive.
Yes. Leo men are hypersensitive to any slights, any perceived slights, any criticism. And Capricorn likes to criticize because Capricorn is a natural problem solver. And also Capricorn does not like to stroke people's ego. Mm-hmm. So Leo needs their ego stroked. But that's hard for a Capricorn. Leo also wants to be baby because Leo men are they're basically big children.
Yes.
They're big kids. So for a Capricorn, Capricorn's all about maturity. You're all about seriousness. You want commitment. You want, you want to know that this person has your back. Where with Leo men, it's like if you're not stroking their ego constantly, they're going to find some other woman to stroke their ego, or they just like, and it's funny because Leo men, they can be kind of moody like Cancer men. And it's usually when they're feeling bored or they're not being stimulated, because Leo men, they need that. They're all about adventure and action. So first of all, Leo men, they need to stay active all their lives practically. Is your Leo man active? Like, does he work out or play ball or anything?
He does, and he's a roamer too. He likes to roam from women to women.
Yeah, they do that. They do that. Just think about how the lion operates in the wild. The lion, number one, he's lazy as hell, but he wants all the power and control.
Yes.
He makes the woman do everything. So he wants to be. A lot of Leo men, they want to be kept men, but they still want to play the field at the same time.
And be the man in the relationship, but want to be the one that is actually kept.
Yes. Another thing I noticed about Leo men, you tell me if this is true too. They could be very selfish and lazy in bed too.
Yes, but with this Leo, he is an older man, so he no longer has that capacity to perform in the same way. And I think because he's seen him, like that's been such a big part of who he was, that sexual part, and now that that's gone, it has really sort of torn him up that he can't perform in that way anymore, and really shattered, I think, his sense of who he is.
Oh, yeah, because Leo man's sexuality, his libido is everything to him. So when that goes, they really feel like shit. But what he needs to do is, because Leo is a very creative sign, they always need to be creating. So he needs to have some type of project where he's creating something. So is he working on anything? Like, does he have anything going on?
See, that's the thing. He's a very creative person, but trying to execute. He has a bunch of ideas, but he never follows through on them. Never.
Okay. So tell me this, and before I let you go real quick, what is your main issue with him?
I guess my main issue is that he just will not commit. I don't know if he's scared of commitment, but the idea of marriage, we've been together for a long, long time, and just the mention of marriage or actually making a real committed relationship, I don't know if it scares him, but he just resists it.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. So do you love him?
Oh, yes, very much.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, where, yes, with Capricorn and Leo, there's that incompatibility, and Leo can be afraid of commitment because they do like to keep their options open. However, because you love him, this is where you're going to have to do the bending. And you're going to have to ease up on the whole commitment thing and be happy for what you can get for now. And then, you know how with a child sometimes you got to entice them to get them to do some things that they really don't want to do. So you got to really start to entice him in ways that he will not suspect what you're doing. Like you got to put on the finesse and charm with him, and you have to start stroking his ego a little bit more, but make it like it's part of your duty to do so. Because like with Capricorn, because Capricorns, I'm a very direct person. He doesn't respond well to that at all. And no, he doesn't.
I like to be very, very direct, very matter of fact and clear. And he thinks that I am trying to tell him what to do and trying to be the person in charge. And so I've learned that being direct is the worst thing I can do with him.
Yep. So, yeah.
But thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. So good luck to you. And like I said, just try to operate more behind the scenes when it comes to trying to get him to do what you want, and just stroke his ego periodically. And you should start to see some positive changes.
Thank you, Rahbinah.
You're welcome. Take care and many blessings. Okay, so I'm going to take the next caller. Let's see. So we have someone holding. We have 443. No, I'm going to 667-229-6626. You are live. Greetings.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
My name is Sabra.
Sabra?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm
and
fine.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland.
Maryland. My mom used to live in Maryland. I lived there for a few months with her. Yep. Okay. So I was getting into, like I said, I feel like nowadays you have to adjust for inflation when it comes to dealing with the signs. So meaning like the darker aspects of each sign are going to be more pronounced since we're able to exercise more free will. And, you know, back in the day, people felt more obligated to go to church or to follow some moral standard. Well, nowadays people are more like free-spirited. So if you get with an Aries man, for instance, he's liable to display more of his darker nature, where he's liable to be more reckless, more aggressive, more hypersexual than an Aries man, say, that was living in 1940. So what brings you to this discussion? Do you have a question? Do you want to contribute?
I actually have a question. I have a lot of questions, but
okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll just focus on, like, this year. Okay, let me start. This year, I was really trying to focus on, I just had actually a 2-month baby.
Oh,
He's
congratulations.
2 months now. And thank you. So I'm really trying to focus more so on myself and establishing, like, you know, I have a baby now. I'm trying to get school on track and, you know, work life and stuff. And I guess I'm just trying to figure everything out. I'm a Libra.
Okay.
I'm a Libra Taurus, and my
Can you
my
give me your date of
rising
birth?
it's September the 29th.
Oh, you're a 29, baby. Okay.
Yep, September the 29th. I was born in 96.
96. Okay. And what time were you born?
At 12:45 p.m.
12:45 p.m. And where were you born?
I was born in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but like pretty much this year I don't know, I'm trying to focus on, I'm just trying to, you know, like get on my grind and just focus on myself and everything. It just seems a little complicated at this point. And it just seems like it's harder. And I'm not single. I'm actually with someone. August.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm with the double Leo. So what you were saying about Leo, I was like, oh my God, yes, that is so true.
And
but,
you know both your Mars and Venus is in Leo, right?
Really?
Yep. That's where that Leo energy is coming. But,
yeah,
I mean, Leo is very compatible with Libra. The only thing is you got your moon in Taurus, which is not so compatible with Leo. So that could be where the issues are if you are encountering any issues with this guy.
We are. That's why I'm like, we just decided we're just going to both try to focus on ourselves at this point and try to get better. And then, like, maybe sometime near future, we'll try to come back and see, or I don't know. My life is all messed up right now. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you want to be married?
One day.
Okay.
I honestly feel like I just get, I'm trying not to say this without being, I just feel like I get tired. You know what I mean? Like I haven't found the right one to actually, like, because I'm still young as well, so that has a big part of everything. I'm really young.
Right.
But other than that, like, I just feel like I can't settle like maybe I get bored with the relationship too fast, or maybe the responsibility.
Yeah, that deals with your past life.
I'm not too sure.
It deals with your past life profile because you came from a past life of being very independent. You weren't relationship oriented. All you had to do was worry about yourself. So after a while, being in a relationship can become kind of uninspiring for you, or you might, feel like you're losing yourself. But it is part of your purpose in this lifetime to be in a relationship, and I'm talking about a serious commitment. And I would advise you to get married as early as possible. But you might have more than one marriage in your lifetime. Yeah. Because when you're married, every other aspect of your life is going to be easier. But, of course, it has to be with the right person. But that's
absolutely.
because it's very important that you partner up with others, but especially a marriage partner, because once you are able to do that, everything else is going to fall into place. Your life is largely contingent upon your relationships, not just you being a Libra, but your North Node is in Libra. It's right next to your sun. So
I honestly, I'm sorry to cut you off. I honestly
go ahead.
see myself like I cannot. I'll just get out of a relationship and like get back in a relationship a few months later and be like, oh yeah, I'm over him. You know what I mean? And my sister's like, you cannot stay out of a relationship for a long time. And I'm just like, it's not that I'm looking for someone else. I don't know. It just seems to happen,
Right. But
so I don't know.
But you're doing the right thing. But you're doing the right thing because relationships are new to you in this lifetime. So it is going to be kind of like a trial and error thing for you until you get with the right guy. But then when you do, when you know he's the right one, there's not going to be any need to really hesitate or vacillate when it comes to marriage. Because, first of all, the guy that you're supposed to marry, he's going to want to marry you, really soon. You'll know, and you'll know that it's meant to be because there won't be any doubt on either of your minds. And it may be a situation where he is kind of older than you, significantly.
Oh, really?
So I don't know how you feel about that, but that's actually to your advantage.
Okay. Wow.
Because these guys that are your age, they're not really going to be that relationship-oriented type of person that you're looking for. The ones that you attract, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah.
But another thing, not having to do with any of this, but I found myself really hard making friends, I guess on my level, or even connecting with somebody, because I feel I don't know if I'm more mature or if it's just who I am. But I found myself
more in particular. Are these female friends?
Friendship with females or males.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
about relationships. You're very new to the whole theme of relationships, and because of this past life, you were very about yourself, and you really didn't have to think about the other person. And I'm not saying that you're the cause of the challenges with friendships, but what I'm saying is all of this stuff, relationships, period, which includes friendships, is new to you in this lifetime. So you may not be choosing the right type of friends because you really don't know what to look for in a friend at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would be more competitive.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying all my siblings are older than me. I have one younger brother, but I feel I really get along with, I guess, older people. All my siblings are older than me. I'm really a family-oriented person, so I don't even have friends at all, whatsoever. And in a way, it kind of bothers me. I shouldn't just, right now, my spouse is considered my best friend. You know what I mean? And my sisters and brothers and stuff. I don't have no female friends or anything like that. It's just
Yes, and again, I can't say this enough. This goes back to your past life profile where you were very independent. You felt like you didn't need anybody. So in this lifetime, people are going to act like they don't need you. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, so it goes both. Yeah, but like you said, you would do best having older friends and also friends who are also coworkers, and you having that connection with them there. It's going to be very hard for you to relate to people just on a peer-to-peer level. And I would think that a lot of people who are your age, they talk about things that you really don't care about or that, you know, you really don't have any time for.
And it makes it even harder because I don't social media, like, really at all.
Yeah.
I don't have a Facebook.
I see that.
I don't do Snapchat. I don't do Instagram. I don't do none of that. So
basically, you were born at the wrong time. You were supposed to be born in, like, 1965 or something like that. You would have gotten along much better in life.
I feel so much. I feel like I should have been born. Like, I was like, maybe I had a past life where I was just like somewhere else. Like, I don't know. It just, I don't feel right. You know, I don't really feel connected with this new age type thing. You know?
Yeah, I know.
It's just like when I like look at like the people my age and like the teenage life, I'm like, what do y'all? That don't even matter at this point. You know what I mean? Like, why do you care about stuff like that? You know?
Right.
It's just hard trying to connect with somebody. Because, you know, everybody's on their phone nowadays. Like, nobody wants to have a real conversation and talk about anything smart. It's all Instagram and what you got on and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. It's just harder, I guess. It's going to be harder for me to establish relationships.
But, yeah, so oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask, is there any advice you can give me? I don't want to be talking, you know, you can take other callers, but I'm just saying, is there any advice you think you could give me on, I guess, establishing relationships, having a long-term relationship without, you know?
Yeah, I mean, basically everything in your life has to be about purpose. You can't do anything just because, you know, you're in this relationship just because the person was available at the time. You need to really, everything needs to be approached more so like kind of like in a business standpoint, or everything needs to be done in a strategic way. And when you do that, you will cancel out a lot of the extraneous bullshit like that. It's just creating havoc in your life. So everything needs to be done with purpose, definiteness of purpose, especially with respect to relationships. So the next relationship you enter into, you need to know the reason why you're entering into that relationship before you do. So, for instance, if your next goal is to get married by a certain age, then that is the type of relationship you need to try to attract. But everything needs to be set out beforehand, before you get into these, even friendships. You need to know why you're entering into this friendship. It needs to be for a purpose. But thank you so much for calling in. I'll be on not next Saturday, but the Saturday after next, so please feel free to call back, okay? And many blessings to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, we have about 6 minutes left, so I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze in about 2 more callers. I have 815-409-6686 on the line. You are live.
Hi,
Greetings.
how you doing? Hi, how
I'm
you
doing?
Fine. Hi, my name is Erica. I'm from Chicago.
Hi, Erica.
How are you? I watch your videos. I enjoy every bit of it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. I've been married for 22 years. My husband is a Leo. I'm a Scorpio. We both have Capricorn moons. He's a Pisces rising, and I'm a Sag rising. And I could say when I first met him, my higher self told me, that's your husband, and you need to ask him to dance, because I was at a club. And I fell in love with him. I didn't know nothing about him. I never felt like that with anybody. I had butterflies in my stomach, and right away we got married. We dated a year. We got married the second year, and we had our daughter maybe 5 years after that. And we've been married for 22 years. I mean, so it's crazy.
Wow. Now, with you being a Leo, wait a minute, you said he's a Leo, you're a Scorpio, right?
Yes.
Now, would you say it's because of your two Capricorn moons that's the secret that has kept you guys together? Because typically Leo and Scorpio clash. And
I
so
know.
I'm glad you called in because,
yeah,
I'm glad you called in because this is a perfect example of what I was talking about, where you can't just rely on the sun sign when you're dealing with synastry compatibility. The fact that you have two Capricorn moons, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that contributes to the longevity of your relationship and the stability.
Yes. We grounded and
yes.
Because we both are headstrong. I want to be the boss. He wants to be the boss. And by me knowing a lot about astrology, he is a big baby, and I know it. I mean, and I don't try to use being maybe a little bit, because Scorpios, we know we know what to do to get what we want, pretty much. And he knows it.
Yes,
and I think his Pisces rising kicks in because he knows me like the back. He's very intuitive. I mean, I don't know if the Leo and both combined by him being a rising and he's a Leo, very intuitive. Oh, I know I am. But he knows me. And I'm like, wow, how do you know I was thinking that? I didn't even say it. But he knows it. And he's not even into astrology.
Wow. Yeah, that's that Pisces combined with your Scorpio energy.
Yes, so so now I understand how he is, but he's a Pisces rising. It balanced because he like his space, I like my space, so it works out for us. I mean, at first he used to bother me because I didn't understand. I'm like, you're a Leo. Most Leos are outgoing, but now he's more into a Pisces. He likes his downtime, and it works. Is crazy, but you're right. I believe the Capricorn does ground us because I think we both would have been out the door.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Wow.
But we've been married. It has not been easy for maybe I said 3, maybe 4 years. It was rough, but now it's getting back how it used to be. I mean, when we first met, so because I went through my Saturn return and it was brutal, both, I think both whammy because I'm a Sag rising and then I'm a Scorpio. So I think I got both ends of the stick, with that. So
right.
It's been hell. But so do you have any advice, for me?
Well, I'm really fixated on the fact that she said 22 years because 22 is considered a master number. So I consider you to be at a very pivotal point in your marriage where some significant changes could occur that could really either break or make the marriage. Not saying that you would, could be at risk for divorce, not that at all. But I feel like with that 22nd year, you're at a point where you could either make or break the marriage, and if you make it, it's going to be the best. Like the following years are going to be some of the best of your lives. If you break it, the following years are going to be some of the worst. So I do feel like you are at that. You're at that crux where this is the year to really do everything you can to make your marriage as harmonious as possible.
But I feel like it's better now. I think we both in a better place financially.
Good.
It was just a lot. He lost his job. It was just, I didn't like my job. It was horrible. And I can say that it's gotten a whole lot better, because he's a good person. I'm a good person. We help each other. And that's why I think we got married quick, because we both are very private. We don't like nobody coming to the house. You better call.
Right.
You're not going to answer the door. And we have so much fun just when me and him together. And we, like I said, we don't need a crowd. We just have each other. With my daughter, but she's like pretty much grown. She's not really here. But it's really, I don't know, it's just, I just like being married. And he's the best thing ever.
Well, Scorpio does.
Because
Scorpio needs that.
Yeah, we do.
But,
we need
thank
that
you
love.
so much.
Okay,
thank
I'm sorry.
you so much for
hold
calling
up,
in.
but
We
thank
got
you.
14 seconds left, and I just want to close out
sorry.
appropriately. But feel free to call back, not next Saturday, but the week after. But this concludes the first episode of the Ace of Cups radio show. I had a wonderful time. Good night, y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night. Have a good night. You think so? Oh, thank you.